Hello, everybody. Welcome to YonkoDuo. I'm Chris,
And I am Matt.
and today we're going to be discussing chapter 1063, The Only Family I've Got.
Let's just start with the fact that one of my favorite characters just keeps on taking L's. Poor old Cracker getting frozen by Aokiji right off the bat. And, for someone who has arguably one of the strongest defensive devil fruit powers, I mean, he just keeps on getting his ass kicked.
Man, you're right. I love Cracker. And dude, when we finally do our top 30 video, he's going to be in it because I think Cracker is just broken with how strong he is. But you're right. He took that L from Luffy with help from Nami over, I think it was like 2 days or something of a battle. And then he clearly just took one in this cover story from who knows who could possibly be, but more than likely,
Aokiji, oh,
yeah,
cough, cough.
more than likely Aokiji. But it sucks to see Cracker just completely get walked over so easily.
Like, I didn't want Cracker to be the punching bag of the Big Mom Pirates,
But
but
he
they're
is.
really treating Cracker like page one out of the Beast Pirates.
Mm,
Like
yep.
they're both just constantly taking L's. And I mean, I love Cracker so much more than page one, but at the end of the day, Cracker's not standing a chance against this mystery man with ice powers. Yes, but let's get into like the actual chapter.
Yep. So we first kick off right back with Luffy, Bonnie, Chopper, and Jinbei. And then we also kick off with the Vegapunk satellite. Wrath, was it?
Yes, no, it's still Wrath.
Okay.
What happened was the previous chapter it showed that Wrath was number six, but that wasn't the case. Wrath is number five out of the six Vega clones, I guess you'd call them.
Hmm.
And I love how we just jump right into the bread and butter intro of a new island, which just feels so much of a relief after that long, beautiful arc of Wano. But
Hmm.
we see everyone get their character designs for the arc. Luffy's looking all scientific.
Yeah, getting the new outfits for a new arc is always like a fun piece because you get to see what the characters are going to wear throughout the whole shtick here. I love Jinbei's dad Hawaiian shirt. Chopper looks adorable, and Miss Jewelry Bonnie, I will say, my word, it's just a great way to start off the chapter here. And then they kind of like encounter Kuma, like of Kuma the cop, and Luffy displays quite an impressive display of observation hockey. Like he calls it right out exactly what Kuma the cop's got to do.
And it's second nature to him now. He's
Yeah,
not even he's very relaxed and knows exactly what's going to happen, giving everyone a heads up as he's sitting there stuffing his face in food still. And are we going to call him Kuma the cop
yeah, Cop
or
Kuma.
Cop Kuma?
Up to you. We can bounce around. I think people know what we're speaking of here.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's go with Kuma the cop. I
Kuma
mean,
the cop.
I love the design. I love the design.
Mhm.
Looks like he has some badges on him too, so maybe he's had
Oh.
some battles. But what do you think's going on with Jewelry Bonnie getting all emotional when Kuma starts attacking them all?
So that's a really interesting piece there where it's not like Joey Bonnie's dumb and it's not like she hasn't seen these pacifistas before. She's part of the worst generation. She's been around for a while now. She went up to Marijua there, like infiltrated, and I believe she was there during like the whole Sabo incident because she saw her actual dad like being treated as like a slave by the celestial dragon. So I think it's more just the image of him. And I think we're probably gonna get like a really sad backstory of her with her father. And so if you had the image of your dad like rushing at you and someone went to punch him, you would want to defend him. But I think to Bonnie's extent, it's almost like it's even more. And Oda, we know him, he's the master of backstories. He's definitely gonna elaborate on that further for us.
Yeah, I always felt like Bonnie was a little bit more of a cold character. I mean, yes, it is family and it is air quotes on the chapter, the only family I got,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I kind of expected her to rage out seeing a copy of copy Kuma the cop.
Yep. It, I think that there, yeah, I think that that was definitely a possibility for how she could have acted and how I think a lot of us probably expected her to act, where she gets so infuriated by all these fake images of her dad that she just beats the crap out of them because she just wants to only reinstate her new, like her one true dad. But I can also see this aspect too, where it's just unbelievably painful knowing that your dad has been stripped of his humanity and who he is, and now there's just a bunch of clones of him that don't care about you, but it's still your dad's image. So I can see it going either way. I was fine with the way that Oda took it, but I know what you're talking about, where it's like, oh, wouldn't she want to destroy all the fake ones and just have her real dad?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And when they when they showed the brief little scene of the younger Kuma holding baby
mhm.
Bonnie, Kuma the cop, so many terms, but when non-Kuma the cop is holding Bonnie, he looks. I think this is the first time we've ever seen him actually smile.
It is. I'm pretty certain it's the only time we've seen him smile as well. After this whole Kuma the cop situation in the Vegapunk world, Matt, I'm going to let you take arguably the best chunk of this chapter here. We cut over to Law's ship being under attack by none other than the Yonko Blackbeard. What were your thoughts on this? What were your thoughts on like the beginning of this like piece here?
Well, the beginning, I mean, the second I heard the laugh, I immediately knew it was either going to be him versus Law or him versus Kid.
Hmm.
Because who else really is there to fight? I wouldn't expect him to do anything towards Shanks. I still think he's hiding from Shanks. And
Mm.
my God, with all these devil fruits that have been revealed in this chapter, to female Beppo and the disease or the sick no me, to all this merch that will be released
Oh
of
God.
female Law. Oh my God, it is so, I want to say cringe, but I know for a fact I'm going to fall in. I'm going to get a little figurine of
Hmm.
female Law at some point
God
because
damn, Matt. I'll
it's
I'll
one
agree with that.
badass looking
So when
character.
I first saw female law, I my mind immediately jumped to Eva. I thought Blackbeard had killed Ivankov and taken his devil fruit and his or her devil fruit
I'm
and
sure a lot of
was using
people
it.
thought like that, and that would
Yes.
be so heartbreaking if we didn't
Oh.
hear her say hee haw one more time. Like, she's a great character. He's a great character.
Yeah.
They are a great character.
Whatever they want to be.
Whatever they want to be. And I love how it's like blatantly stated now by law that devil fruit powers can be countered if you use a great deal of hockey.
Hmm. And I think he was referring to specifically the fight between him, Big Mom, and Kaido, where he was trying to essentially move Big Mom and Kaido, and Kid was like, "Why can't you just throw them off the island?" And he was like, "Oh, their hockey's too powerful." The interesting thing, and the part that I want to know is what sort of hockey negates these devil fruits? Is it armament? Is it observation or is it conquerors? And I think it's almost a nod to conquerors, which it hasn't been confirmed or denied that Law has conquerors hockey, but we know that he's able to overcome this disease, this female transformation disease, by exerting a mass amount of some sort of hockey.
I mean, he
Um,
has the will of D. It's surprising to me that we haven't had a confirmation of
an
his
official
Conquerors hockey
confirmation.
yet.
Yeah.
Um, when he saw the clash between Luffy and Doflamingo, he was in complete shock and disbelief. So I think if he does have Conqueror's hockey, he hasn't awakened it yet, or he doesn't know that he has it. Something similar to Zoro.
Mhm.
Uh, but let's move on to the bigger question of did Jesus Burgess have this devil fruit in Dressrosa?
Okay. My thoughts on it, I don't think he did. The main piece is because he wanted the Mero Mero no Mi, and it seemed like he was going to eat it right away. Unless Blackbeard had given him something in addition to allow him to have two devil fruits as well. I don't think that's the case. I think Blackbeard's a very special case there. Uh, I think Burgess is just an unbelievably strong individual. We saw him fight against Ace. He literally threw a building at Ace. So I think this only amplifies Burgess's already ridiculous power. But yeah, with that being said, we see him pick up a mountain. He's gonna freaking check that thing at law. And then we get an introduction of another fruit, which I think is arguably one of the coolest fruits, and it's given to Van Augur, the Warp fruit. Matt, tell us some of your thoughts on that reveal there.
I think that it has to be one of the most broken or most useful Paramecia Devil Fruits in the entire series. When it comes to offensive abilities, I'm not really sure how it will be used. When it comes to more of a providing support and helping out the crew as a whole, I think it is astronomical, though. But the limitations need to be explained on this.
Hmm.
Is it something that he can just look at and pinpoint, and maybe that'll be more useful with his observation hockey and the fact that he uses a rifle, long range rifle? That would be really cool. Or is it something that he one day one day he goes to Ennius lobby, and then a year down the line he's in the fight with someone and he says, "Oh, I'm about to lose. I'm just gonna zap him to Ennius lobby on the other side of the goddamn planet."
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
limitations need to be explained, but I absolutely love this devil fruit.
Real quick, just with Van Augur, dude. The first thought like that came to my head is we both know Van Augur and Usopp are fighting each other, right?
Oh,
Like that
absolutely.
is like so just imagine this fight like between Usopp and Van Augur. Usopp will have to have such good observation that he can predict where Van Augur is going to teleport. And Van Augur will probably be bouncing all around the island and Usopp is trying to keep up and he's gonna have a moment where he's almost gonna unlock like future sight observation and then like be able to hit Van Augur.
You think
Um
almost? Usopp better have
okay, you know you're
future
right.
sight
Yes.
observation hockey by that fight. If he doesn't have it by that fight, he's done. He's not going to
No.
unlock it during the fight. He needs to be. I want him to be category level good.
You want Usopp to be Katakuri level, dude? I don't.
I want
Usopp's gonna be strong, but him being
no,
Katakuri
no,
level,
no,
my
no. I'm
gosh,
not talking. I'm not talking about category level strength with
future
hockey.
sight.
When it comes to the future sight, though, Usopp needs to get there. He
Okay.
absolutely needs to get there. And I think this is very uh it reminds me a lot of Usopp because Usopp is such he is the support for the Straw Hats. You know, he's the long range sniper. He's the one who took down Sugar and Dressrosa.
Hmm.
He is when it comes to a one-on-one fight, we haven't seen that many one-on-one fights with Usopp.
I think
And
you could argue probably his best one-on-one fight was actually against Luffy, um, which he did a lot there. But since then, he really hasn't had too many one-on-ones. Like in Wano, he fought Page One, I guess, but he had Nami there. Um, yeah, he hasn't really had too many of those.
yeah, the only other big one that I can think of is him versus Perona.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I love that too, but it was all about him using all of his tricks. And all of
Hmm.
his tricks are so useful when he has another person. So I think that fight is going to be so much better once it happens. And I think when it comes to the team ups, I no longer see Burgess fighting Sanji. I
Hmm.
see Burgess fighting Jinbei,
Agreed.
and I would absolutely love it, love it, love it if Sanji fights Vasco Shot. And I'll tell you why. I'll
Bring
tell
it.
you why. Before, when we saw the Blackbeard Pirates invade Amazon Lily, it was Vasco Shot who had the idea, that like sick idea of capturing Boa Hancock alive because she would be more quote unquote useful. But
Interesting.
he meant that as a taking
Yeah.
advantage of women. scenario. So I don't know what Vasco Shot's Devil Fruit's gonna be. I think it's gonna be amazing, and he's gonna become a lot more powerful. And I think Sanji's going to clash with him on an emotional level, realizing that Vasco's shot is the opposite of him. You
Hmm.
know, when it comes to respecting women and appreciating women, that's all Sanji's about. But Vasco's shot is kind of more the drunken slob.
I
Yeah,
think you're 100% right with that prediction. I didn't even piece those together, but him being the exact opposite of Sanji, or him being like Sanji's antithesis, I completely see that. I think that's a completely reasonable explanation there. But moving on, so we have Burgess, who we know has the buff fruit. We have Van Augur, who we know has the warp, and then we get over to Stronger, who has the Pegasus fruit, which is too fitting for the horse. Um, and I love the scene where it's Blackbeard on Stronger on top of Doc Q, and he's just like pushing him down and like getting flown over. That was a hysterical scene there. I really enjoyed that.
how do you think that this fight is going to unfold? Because I have my theory, but
Boy, oh boy. All right. So really quick with Doc Q and Stronger, I Doc Q I'm pretty certain has had this fruit for his sick fruit forever. Because when we first see them, his bounty I believe is roughly 70 million, 70 like 3 million. It was higher than Blackbeard's. So with that, I feel like he would have had to have been a threat to the world government for a long time. Maybe at this point he's awakened his devil fruit and now he's even more of a threat. But just kind of jump back over to how this fight will actually go. Um, man, I it's looking bleak for Law, dude. I'm sorry. Law's crew seems to be the weakest crew. Like it's definitely not beating Luffy's crew. And in comparison from Law's crew to Kid's crew, I'm sorry, like Beppo, you're nice, you seem capable of certain things, but do I believe you could take on a Toby Ropo? I don't think so. I think this is Law versus Blackbeard and his crew. And if Law's crew does step up, I will be pleasantly surprised, but I'm just not seeing it. What about you?
I I don't see this fight ending in death because even though Law accomplished his overall goal, the reason why he's been involved so much to overthrow Kaido, I don't think this is where Law's final stand will be. I think that's, you know, the story is finally speeding up, but I think it's going to be a crazy battle, and I think Law is going to have to escape. I think he's going to find a way to avoid this once he realizes he's a little in over his head. His submarine, the yellow submarine, is damaged, so I don't know how they're really going to get away. The only thing that I think can happen is Law will use his devil fruit to actually steal the other devil fruits that Blackbeard has acquired. So
Hmm.
I think at some point during this fight, when Law realizes he might be a little in over his head, perhaps, he's going to do room. He's going to realize, oh, Blackbeard has some random devil fruits in a treasure chest on his ship.
Because
Since
Blackbeard's
he
been collecting devil fruits. Yeah.
exactly. So since he's been collecting all the devil fruits, I want to see Law realize I'm a little in over my head. He does room, and by a stroke of luck, maybe Beppo eats a devil fruit because eats like the rabbit fruit, and he gains really strong leg muscles, and he just jumps away or some
That would be
shit.
cool because we've seen like those rabbit bears back on Chopper's Island. Just kind of playing off that idea. I actually really like that. So I can see a couple of options for Law here. Law loses and Blackbeard captures him. Law is able to run away. Oda pulls something out that just we're not seeing, like a third party comes in and causes some sort of destruction or something like that. But I don't think he's going to play that because he kind of already played that card with Rayleigh and Boa Hancock. And then what I think is most likely to happen is Law's very good with understanding motives and negotiations, and Blackbeard's not a dummy. I think Law will find himself in a situation where he can negotiate out him and his crew's lives in exchange for the road poneglyphs. And because Blackbird doesn't fully know Law's ability, maybe he could switch the road poneglyph for something else in Blackbeard's ship. Um, but yeah, it's the situation as it stands now does not look good for our friend Trafalgar D. Waterlaw.
It's certainly looking bleak. It's certainly looking bleak, but
Yeah.
I hope he pulls through. Something has
Let's
to
go
be
Law.
done. I don't think anyone's gonna help him. I think he's going to use his intelligence and figure out some way out of this. But that being said, I think that's the chapter, Chris.
Hmm. I think that's the chapter. Well, I've been Chris.
And I've been met.
And this has been YonkoDuo. Thanks for joining us for chapter 1063, and we will be reviewing 1064 when that comes out. Stay tuned because we're going to be dropping a couple more theories on this chapter and what's next to come. But other than that, YonkoDuo out.
Beppo for power up. Peace.